The sun was breaking over the mountains and spilling across the great plain. The sound of drums and trumpets sounded for the men to ready their lines. Aldrich fell in line with the rest of the men as he almost stumbled to keep up. The darkened metal helmet upon his head covered his young face. He was tall for his age, so he thought with a full helm no one would be able to tell. The bronze sword at his hip and the iron dagger in his boot, he thought, would be all the might he needed. He was young, athletic, strong, and quite a bit bigger than most boys his age. He had trained day and night with his sword for this moment. He was not going to let it be taken from him. The creaking of large oaks rose above the concoction of noise from the camp as the men on horses rode out of the gate first. The heavy breathing and strain to hold up his sword had become known to him all too quick. Fighting against nothing was not the same as fighting against another's steel. His muscles ached and cramped, his heart beat in his ears like an endless howl of the tides crashing against rocks. He gasped as his fingers failed him and the sword fell from his hands. He had but one chance now. He jumped upon the man in front of him, tearing under his helm to remove it. He pressed his hands against the man's throat, blood searing into his vision as he bellowed curses at his foe. Aldrich removed his hands from the limp body and searched for his sword. It was nowhere to be seen. He swiftly reached out for another body lay at his side. His sword in hand, Aldrich took it for his own. Now, with weapon in hand, he pressed once again to the front lines. The enemy had been pushed back by the cavalry, and the last rain of arrows from the archers halted them enough to be surrounded. The battle was thickest in the middle. Aldrich was past thought at this point, and he only had one purpose. The blood on his sword stained the dry grass as he charged with his brethren. His ferocity and tact to never overextend had him receiving pats and nods from the other knights. This unbannered new recruit earning such respect on his first day, Aldrich was not of that mind, though. The exhaustion had taken him to the edge of thought. He was a listless spirit dancing among these foul creatures who he sought to slay with vigor and devotion. His blade clashed against others, wringing his hands, but this time he held fast to his sword. He pressed onward as the corpses gathered at their feet. Sight of the enemy camp was now on the horizon. Long had the day been without rest and full of near misses. Aldrich could barely stand. He was leaning on his blade to steady himself while he leaned over another dispatched foe. He was falling further into the back line as he rested. He had done all he could to this point. The battle was won. He wanted to go on and be at the front line of the glory as the camp was overrun. His legs would not move, however, so he simply stood and stared at the men running past him. They seemed to recognize him for some reason, nodding and mumbling and greeting under their breaths. He felt satisfied as he looked towards the sky, the sun almost darkened by the mountains, but the surrounding sky ablaze in fire. After he had rested for several hours, he walked into the now conquered camp where the men were feasting and drinking. He received much praise as he entered, and before he knew it, someone had removed his helm and shoved an ale in his hand. "Drink up, hero, you fought well. No one will doubt your courage, newcomer." Aldrich was shocked that even seeing how young he was, and his race, they were still in the mood to cheer him on. A smile crept across his face as he took a swig. "Shall no man drop his sword, but find another," he raised his glass, "to the swords of our dead."